In today's video, I've got 5 facts about Ruler from the Fate Apocrypha series. I'll be covering her amazing noble phantasm, La Pucelle, her backstory, and the ever so popular 3 sizes. And hey, if you're new here, why not join the 414 community by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss a video. And just to add, this video will contain spoilers, so if you haven't finished Fate Apocrypha yet, then, please come back later. But with that being said, let's roll intro and get straight into the video. Ruler's true identity is of course that of Jeanne d'Arc. During the 100 Years' War, she liberated the French city Orléans and became the Saint of Orléans before her tragic end. During the Great Holy Grail War, she was of course summoned by the Grail to play the part of the Ruler class. And in case you didn't know, the Ruler class is basically the heroic spirit that watched over the Grail Wall and acted as some sort of judge to make sure that it played out fairly. Ruler stands at 159 centimeters, which is 5'2" and weighs 97 pounds. And of course, here are the measurements that you're really interested in. That's right, Jeanne's 3 sizes. Her bust is 33.4 inches, her waist is 23.2 inches, and her hips are 33.8 inches. Nice. I'll quickly add that, as we know, she possessed the body of a French girl called Laetitia, who was also chosen by the Grail to act as Jeanne's vessel. Though these two in appearance were almost identical, the main difference was that Laetitia's bust was slightly bigger than that of Jeanne's. This little bit of crucial information was taken from the Apocrypha material book, and it's the interesting facts that make these videos good, right? Anywho, Jeanne has long blonde hair that she wears in a plaited ponytail, and her eyes are a beautiful shade of amethyst, said to be completely pure. Though Jeanne was summoned by the Grail as the special Ruler class, she actually had all the attributes and qualifications for the sought-after Saber class. But in this one, I just want to go over Ruler's parameters during the Great Holy Grail War. And in case you're new here and you don't know what parameters are, they're basically the heroic spirit stats under their respective masters. Though in Jeanne's case, it's slightly different as she had no master. She was, of course, the Ruler class heroic spirit. Anyway, here are Jeanne's stats, courtesy of the Fate Apocrypha material book, released on August 2015. Well, released in August 2015. So, strength was a B rank, endurance also a B rank, agility an A rank, mana an A rank again, luck a C rank, and her noble phantasm was an A++ rank. Awesome sauce. Following that are her class skills. Class skills are granted upon, summoning, and are usually a reflection on the abilities that this person may have held in life. Though, if the spirit didn't have this skill in their own lifetime, because of the class that they were summoned in, they would get a lower ranking of this skill. So, Jeanne's class skills were Magical Resistance, which was an EX rank. This skill is usually one given to the Saber class, but as a Ruler class, Jeanne's resistance is above average. It's said that as a saint, even magecraft used by the gods wouldn't wound her. Though she can't negate the magic, it is simply only reflected away. Next class skill is True Name Discernment, which was a B rank. This ability lets Jeanne read the skills, parameters, and true identity of any servant she meets. This information is revealed automatically upon meeting them. However, servants that have a hiding skill or capability then have to gamble on Jeanne's luck level as to whether they'll be read or not. Final class skill is God's Resolution. This is an A rank skill. This one is the big one, is said to be the highest honor and privilege of the Ruler class. This skill lets Jeanne use command spells on the other servants. Normally, the Ruler class would possess 2 command seals per servant in participation of that Grail War. And then finally we have personal skills. These are, pretty much self-explanatory, but, these skills are given to them what was, let's say, a reflection of their abilities in their lifetime. Jeanne's personal skills were Revelation. This was an A rank skill. This skill is basically an instinct or a sixth sense, if you will. Normally, this only applies to battle, in which, she can assess all danger around her. But this skill allows her to access any given situation. As an example, Jeanne would be able to choose the best path while traveling and making a little choice like that, the best cake in the shop and, all that fun stuff. Anyway, Next personal skill is Charisma. This is at a C rank, and no need to really explain this one as the skill is basically as it reads. Jeanne obviously has a natural talent when leading an army and would boost morale of her party simply by raising her flag. Final personal skill is Saint. This is a B rank skill. This one's pretty awesome, to be fair. It's pretty much almost just a stat buff. Having this ability means that Jeanne is able to restore health automatically, her charisma is boosted by 1 rank, it's even possible to produce a holy shroud by having this ability. Pretty awesome stuff. Next up is Jeanne's noble phantasms. The first is called La Pucelle, the Crimson Saint. Its rank varies dependent on its state, and I've got to say this one is an absolute beast. Downside to this one is that it's a suicide type noble phantasm. So before it is activated, it is a C rank and takes the form of the Sword of St. Catherine, a sword that was given to Jeanne that in her lifetime, fun fact, she didn't swing even once. Once activated, it is given an EX rank. This is because the destructive power of this noble phantasm cannot be calculated. It's almost a sort of reality marble that takes the form of the flames that burned Jeanne at the stake back in her own time. And to manifest these flames and activate the noble phantasm, Jeanne would recite a line from a death poem as a kind of incarnation, which was, "O Lord, I entrust this body to you." And like mentioned, the cost of this noble phantasm is Jeanne's life, but in exchange, these flames could destroy anything in existence, but only what Jeanne wants to eradicate. Next noble phantasm is called, and I apologize to any French listeners out there because my French is not great, nor is any other accent I try, but this one is called Luminosité Éternelle. God is here with me. This A rank noble phantasm is the holy battle flag that Jeanne has kept by her side her entire life. And because of its spear point at the tip, Jeanne would also use this as her main weapon in combat, either to strike an opponent, block attacks, or to pierce obstacles. You get the point. Get it? Yeah, that was bad, sorry. Not only used as a weapon, this battle standard of hers was a sign of inspiration to those around her, just as she did in her own life while swinging this flag on the battlefield, right to the very end as a sign never to give up. And this is also, it also has a huge effect as a barrier or form of defense. When Jeanne plants the flag into the ground, she uses it as another type of noble phantasm by activating her EX rank magic resistance and turning it into a protective barrier that protects all it is defending from both physical and magical attacks. Jeanne's Japanese voice actress is Maya Sakamoto. She has voiced other characters such as CL Phantom Hive in Black Butler, Elisa from God Eater, Rikako Oreo in Psycho-Pass, Krona from Soul Eater, and many more. Then we have Jeanne's English voice actress, that is Erika Harlacher. She has voiced other characters such as Ami Kawashima in Toradora, Elizabeth from the Seven Deadly Sins, Violet Evergarden in, Violet Evergarden, Claudia Enfield from the Asterisk War, and of course more. So let's look a bit into Jeanne's backstory. I found this one really interesting. You can almost use this as some sort of history lesson. So Jeanne was born on the 6th of January as a commoner, specifically into a farmer's family. She claims to have heard the voice of God, a revelation from God. No, a command from God. A command that told Jeanne to fight. Now, not to fight to kill, but to put an end to the endless conflict during the 100 Years' War, in which she'd tried to reclaim France from the English domination. God was said to have wept to her, explaining these people couldn't live a simple life amongst one another. These people were only seen as either beasts or food. Too much blood stained the land and was all unnecessary in God's eyes. Jeanne responded to God's call by giving up her simple life as a villager and took it upon herself to join the battlefield where, one, it was not really a place for a woman in that time and age, nor is it now, I guess, but yeah, And two, she had to convince the people of this mere village girl's words that had supposedly come from God himself. And Jeanne, was a person that, reveled in the joy of loving someone and receiving the same love in return. Because of this mindset, she set out, bore the battle armor, wore a sword at her side, and carried her famous flag as she fought alongside Chalet de Ray. I think I did that good job on that one. Knowing that all the effort that she would be putting in would likely come with no compensation. Such was her faith in the Lord and this task that was given to her. And it's quite interesting really, because Jeanne came from a peasant's family, she of course didn't have the ability to read or write. To be honest, she could only sign her own name, but that's as far as it went. Because she was carrying the words of God with her, she tried her damn hardest to learn the contents of the books, aka, the Bible that spoke of God's teachings. Now, Jeanne was, someone quite special. Due to her heroic actions on the battlefield, where she would use tactics that were, probably advanced for the era that she lived in, she was eventually rewarded as King Charles of France declared Jeanne and Gilles as both saviors and national heroes. In fact, her most famous victory was when Charles sent her to the Siege of Orleans. The siege was lifted after only 9 days. Following this, she was involved in a couple of other swift victories that led to Charles's coronation, which of course boosted French morale and led to their victory over the English. However, around 19 years old, she was captured by some French nobles who were still allied with England. They handed her over to the English, who put her on trial, hosted by an English bishop who declared her guilty of various charges. Following the verdict, on the 30th of May 1431, Jeanne was burnt alive at the stake. And it's quite interesting, in 1456 the trial was then examined by Pope, and I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Calixtus III, who debunked the charges against her, declared her innocent and a martyr. Then, in the 16th century, she became a symbol of the Catholic League, and in 1803 Napoleon Bonaparte declared Jeanne as a national symbol of France. By 1920, Jeanne d'Arc was named one of 9 secondary patron saints of France. Little history lesson for you there. But thanks for watching. This was my video 5 facts about Jeanne d'Arc from the Fate series. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more characters from the Fate franchise, Jeanne Alter more than likely, let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed this video, as it really does help my videos reach a wider audience, and of course subscribe for more anime content. Anyway, till next time my fellow weebs,